Happy October, everyone, the most sacred of months for horror fans. Like most of you, Halloween, Samhain, All Hallows Eve is my favorite holiday. I have such a reverence for it. So I'm really excited to tell you about these 10 underseen Halloween movies, not the big classics that have their own section at Spirit Halloween, to get you in the spooky spirit. I'm your host, Daniel with the Cobwebs channel, and I've ranked these from my lowest to highest recommendation. So let's get started with my number 10.
Are you ready to die?
Haunt Season from 2024. A masked maniac targets cast members at a suburban Halloween haunt attraction, turning their staged injuries into gruesome real-life horrors. Haunted house attraction movies are super popular right now, especially on the indie scene, and this is yet another fun one that I enjoy. Like most of these movies, something that I like about it is super Halloween-y, with so many decorations and props everywhere, and it's a high-quality haunt. It looks like really good stuff. They didn't exactly cheap out on the decorations. This is a haunt that I definitely want to go to. When it comes to the actors, I think this might actually be a little bit better than you would expect for this budget. It almost feels like a return to 2010's mumblecore, where it's very naturalistic, free-flowing dialogue, almost feels kind of improvised. The characters aren't necessarily great, but I think that was mostly made up for by how natural they feel. And I liked how the human theme of this was the main character finding a new friend group and not necessarily romance. I'm all for romance in my horror movies, don't get me wrong, but that's just way more common in the genre. And this theme of friendship was pretty nice. But when it comes to a slasher, I know what you really want to hear. How's the killer? How's the kills? I really liked the killer in here. Now, this is another Halloween movie. There's a lot of these where the killer wears a variety of different Halloween masks, and they're all really cool, very high quality masks. This looks like top tier as far as what Spirit Halloween might offer, and the killer reveal and their motivation was really good. I was super happy with that. I thought it gave the movie a really interesting theme. The kills are pretty good. There's definitely some creativity there, but this is a rare case where I think the chase scenes might actually be better than the kills. There are chases through an arcade, a bowling alley, a mini golf course, even an escape room, and I'm a big escape room guy. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I love a good escape room. So this is just a movie where you get to hang out in a bunch of like cool kids teen style hangout places, and I thought that was really fun. It made the budget feel a little bit higher than it definitely was, because it's not truly great, and you have to be accustomed to low budget indies, but as someone who definitely is, I had a good time with this. Now, my mother-in-law says that Halloween is the devil's holiday. So let's honor that by talking about a film that focuses on good old-fashioned Satanism, Hack-O-Lantern from 1988. When Tommy was a boy, he saw his grandpa, the leader of a vicious satanic cult, murder his father in a brutal ritual on Halloween night. Now he is 18 and grandpa is ready to initiate him into the black arts. So I need all of my fellow fans of cheesy, ridiculous 80s slasher movies to gather up. This is our time. Now, I am not normally a so bad it's good kind of person. I think if I like it, then it's just good, but there are certain exceptions. Hack-O-Lantern is an exception. This movie is bad, it is dumb, it's ridiculous, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it really just does everything to be as silly as possible without ever becoming a full-out comedy. I like the theme of Satanism for Halloween, and I think an underrated icon of Halloween is a classic devil. Not as good as a skeleton, a witch, or a pumpkin-headed scarecrow, but still real good. And the killer here looks lots of fun with this classic Halloween devil costume. So watching him run around and kill people in the name of Satan is just good fun.
Oh, Tommy, all right. Nice costume, Tommy. You scared the hell out of me, okay?
The beginning of the film has such a great small town Halloween kind of an atmosphere. I mean, just look at this. It doesn't stay that way through the whole thing, but the most Halloween-y thing you get later in the film is a big Halloween party. You got lots of costumes, you got some decorations. There's two devils who have a sword fight, so that's cool. And this is a rare film that I have not rated on Letterboxd because I just don't, look at that, isn't that fun? I just don't know what to do with this thing because I I don't think it's a good movie, and I'm not like giving it some high recommendation to you guys, but if you're a fan of Halloween 80s slashers, this one's got the goods. Some pretty good kills, lots of sleaze, silly dialogue, ridiculous characters, not the worst actors, honestly, and good old Halloween Satanism. You gotta love it.
Bloodfest is the greatest horror event of all time.
Want to make a horror movie to end all horror movies? Oh my God!
Bloodfest from 2018. Horror fans flock to a festival celebrating the most iconic horror movies, only to discover that the charismatic showman behind the event has a diabolical agenda. So like we talked about at the beginning of the video, there are a lot of horror movies about Halloween haunts, but this is a full-scale theme park, like the biggest Halloween haunt attraction you can possibly imagine, blowing away Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, this is a place I want to go to so bad. And what it turns out to be, revealed very early in the film, no worries, is a scheme to make the greatest hardcore horror film ever made by filming the killing of all of the patrons. So as you're watching the movie, you get to try to survive along with the characters a whole park of horrors trying to kill you. You get to explore the park along with the characters, pretty good characters here. I enjoyed them enough. The main guy is this big horror fan, so he's got lots of meta conversations and such. You've also got that kid from Spider-Man in here, and you get to go along with them in the most intense way with actual zombies, vampires, evil clowns, a fictional iconic film slasher called The Arborist, and they actually build the legend and fictional franchise around him through the movie really quite well. So, I mean, it's just a one-stop shop for Halloween goodness. You get it all here. Back in 2018, the same year, both this and Hellfest came out, and while I am a bigger fan of Hellfest because it's just more of a straight-up scary slasher movie, and I talked about that in my first Halloween video here on the channel. I'll link it down in the comments below. This is the more comedic one, the more obviously trying to have fun one, and honestly, the bigger, more grand scale one. And therefore, a lot of people like this one more, and you might too, so I highly recommend checking out Bloodfest.
Trick or treat, smell my feet,
It scared me to death.
and die. The barn.
The Barn from 2016. Best friends Sam and Josh are trying to enjoy what's left of their final All Hallows Eve before graduating high school. But trouble arises when the two pals and a group of friends take a detour on their way to a rock concert, finding an old abandoned barn and awakening the evils inside. The Barn was a pretty big horror success story when it first came out because of its success on Kickstarter. It's a very low budget film full of all of that indie spirit. Writer-director Justin Seaman based it on a book that he actually wrote when he was 8 years old, which is telling when you look at its simple childhood wonder kind of version of Halloween. It's full of discussions about the rules of the holiday and of old-fashioned decorations and that retro 80s look. And I just tend to be a fan of modern movies that take place back in the 80s. I know a lot of people are sick of that, but people weren't as sick of it in 2016, so let's be fair with that. But it also just tends to make horror movies look pretty good and pretty classic. I will concede its budget shows in a lot of ways. It does have pretty weak acting, but not in a way that I really minded. Besides the kids, you've also got cameos from Linnea Quigley and Ari Laneman, aka First Jason, and they're actually really fun to watch here. But I love the monsters, or as my toddler son calls them, because he actually ended up watching part of this with me, the spooky guys. You've got a scarecrow, a pumpkin-headed monster, and the boogeyman. And while they definitely look like Spirit Halloween animatronics, they don't exactly look real. They're treated with this kind of reverence, where they really do feel like this creepy, magical force of Halloween come to life to go carry out some gruesome kills. And this is full of practical effects. It's really fun in that way. Lots of wacky kills that are gruesome, but don't feel gruesome because it's in that good fun indie 80s kind of way. And I just like that this is a retro throwback that's supposed to be fun, but isn't treating this like a comedy, does take its own story, its own characters pretty seriously, and really does try to make the monsters feel as scary as they can. But that just leads me into the next film I want to talk about, The Barn Part 2. From 2022.
And that haunted house seems to be the perfect place to make a new house of horrors.
Now that the main characters are a little bit older, The Barn Part 2 trades in the more simple trick-or-treating kind of a theme for a Halloween haunt theme. Once again, we've got another Halloween haunt movie. And here you've got Lexi Drips as Michelle, who was a side character in the first film, now taking center stage. And I don't think there's any denying she is a better lead for the movie. I don't know if she just improved a lot as an actor or she just didn't have enough to do in the first film, but I thought she was actually really good here in a film that is definitely going for more of the comedy that I said the first film was trying to avoid. This is a bigger, grosser, crazier, and technically superior movie than the first one. Linnea Quigley and Ari Lehman are back, but they have more to do in this one, and I thought they both rose to the occasion really well. And you've got even more cameos in here, like Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy the Mail Girl. Darcy's really not even a cameo, she's just a character in the movie. This sequel also made me realize how much I guess this franchise kind of means for me, because there's a moment in the film, no big spoilers, where a couple of characters from the first film reunite. And it kind of got my heartstrings more than I expected. And I thought, I guess I'm kind of the barn guy. I guess I'm just in for this franchise. I like these characters, weak acting and all. I like these monsters. I like this rural, small town, farmland kind of a Halloween feel that you get here. I mean, these films are just exploding with Halloween imagery. I mean, the first film especially, it feels like it was made first and foremost just to get as much Halloween classic imagery on screen as possible. And it really does. So these are really cozy watches for this time of year. You get your more grounded, that's kind of silly to say, but your more grounded spooky time childhood version with the first one. You get the crazier, goofier, wilder Halloween haunt version with the sequel. I think I do prefer the first one, even with all of its imperfections, but these are good old-fashioned Halloween movies. If you like 80s horror, if you like some indie stuff, these are a blast. Got some more crazy teen Halloween fun that even outdoes Night of the Demons 2, and that's Idle Hands from 1999.
Undead, actually. And it was this big bright white light at the end of a long tunnel. We were like, forget that, man. It's too far.
A lazy stoner named Anton discovers his right hand has become possessed and is murdering people against his will. With the help of his undead friends, he tries to stop the evil hand before it claims more victims, including his high school crush. This is a movie that seems like it really would not be for me. I cannot relate to the main character at all, or his friends. I can't relate to stoner culture at all, and a lot of stoner comedy tends to be kind of lost on me. The central romance and the main love interest, Jessica Alba, is completely ridiculous. Their whole romance is just like empty wish fulfillment. I mean, why on earth would this girl go for this guy? Well, then again, Devon Sawa in Casper was the source of my wife's sexual awakening as a child, as well as like every millennial woman I've ever talked to. So I guess it makes a little bit more sense. I should give it more credit. But breaking through all of my reservations, Idle Hands is just so much fun, and I cannot help but have a blast every time I watch this. It's actually really funny, cracks me up on a lot of occasions, incredibly high energy. Devon Sawa just rules. All kidding aside, he just breaks through any annoyances that I would normally have with his character. I don't think I've ever seen Devon Sawa not absolutely rock and roll in any movie he's ever been. Even his friends, played by Seth Green and Eldon Henson, are hilarious. I love all of the zombie gore gag jokes that come along with their characters. I think Idle Hands is a movie that consistently improves as it goes along, with the gore, the comedy, the insane manic energy, the fun soundtrack, and it's got a great Halloween setting. It's got a lot of jack-o'-lanterns, good suburban feel. It was actually filmed in the same suburb that John Carpenter's Halloween was, so it's automatically got that classic cred. And it even ends with a Halloween dance full of tons of great costumes, masks, and music.
Happy Halloween!
When Good Ghouls Go Bad, from 2001. In the small town of Walker Falls, Halloween has been banned for decades after a curse is unleashed from a boy's mysterious death. When the curse awakens the dead, it's up to a young boy and his eccentric grandfather, who likes to go by Uncle Fred, to confront the ghouls and restore the town's Halloween spirit. So this is a straight-to-TV, kids, family Halloween movie. And right off the bat, I gotta say, it is incredibly autumnal. There are so many decorations, vintage, handmade ones, and has a plot that very much revolves around the decorations. Christopher Lloyd is in here as the grandfather, and he has such wonderful narration throughout the thing. Like, he describes autumn so beautifully at the beginning by saying something like, walking home from school in late October. Pros included great autumn air smell, a hint of caramelized marshmallows, lower temperatures, which means you could wear that jacket that makes you feel cool and hides the fact that
you're built like a scarecrow in case you spotted that girl that just knocked you out.
It's about kids who so desperately want to celebrate Halloween in a town that has lost its Halloween spirit, all because they're scared of this spooky curse. And the whole backstory around that is really fun. It's good to spend time in a town that has haunted urban legends going on that everybody in the town is terrified of. But kids who want to recapture that beautiful, cozy Halloween magic. The main girl in the film describes this so beautifully by saying about kids, they don't want to feel safe. They actually want to feel a little bit scared, even if just for one night. Because if you don't get to survive being scared as a kid,
how are you ever going to survive being scared as an adult?
If you can't tell, I love the script for this movie so much. It is so clearly written by someone who has a true, pure love and reverence for Halloween. And that's true because it was actually written by R.L. Stine, who's probably the third most important person of all time for solidifying my love for Halloween as a kid, behind my dad and Bela Lugosi. It actually does deliver pretty well as a horror movie. You do get ghouls, zombies, rising from the dead. There's a lot of scenes in graveyards. There is a resolution to the curse that is fully supernatural, so you don't have to worry about the movie wimping out in that way. But in a lot of ways, it's sort of like a Christmas movie, a holiday movie. There's so many Christmas films about people needing to kind of recapture the spirit of Christmas and that goodness, that wonder, that childhood wonder that comes along with it. I mean, it's Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. This is kind of like that for Halloween, and that's not going to work for everybody because not everybody feels that way about Halloween, but I do. I think it's the most wonderful time of year, and this is a pure, beautiful movie that gets that. But we have not, in this entire list yet, talked about a single film that is actually scary. Let's do that now with Late Night with the Devil from 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil.
On Halloween night, 1997, a late night talk show host brings on the show a young woman who is supposedly possessed by the devil. This is a Shudder movie that made a huge splash last year. So many people absolutely loved it. And while I loved it too, I gave it 4 stars. I did put it slightly outside of my top 10 for that year, but I kind of knew that was probably going to change with time because I loved the feeling of it so much, and I knew that I would look back on that so fondly and want to come back to it again and again. It is that wonderful, vintage, retro Halloween feel of watching a live broadcast on Halloween. You get the decorations, you get the vibes, but something actually very dark and sinister is happening. It reminds me a lot, of course, of Ghost Watch from the 90s, which is also a Halloween movie, but has like pretty much no Halloween decorations that I can think of. This one actually does. It's got those visual Halloween vibes that you're probably looking for, but I love this film's version of demon possession. Now, possession tends to be one of my least favorite subgenres of horror. I'm not super interested in the idea of it, and I'm not super attracted to the typical aesthetics of it. But this one takes it in such an interesting direction where there is always a demon within this woman, but it's not controlling her all the time. It's wiggling in and out of her mind, sometimes taking her over, sometimes letting her steer the ship, all while knowing that it's in the back. I found that idea incredibly creepy, and this young actress who plays this girl is incredible. She creeped me out so much going in and out of a possessed state. Oh man, it's gonna give me the willies. David Dastmalchian, a respected character actor who rarely gets to be a lead, is truly excellent in here. I love him as this talk show host, and if you can watch it on a cold, dark Halloween night and allow your brain to accept that you are watching a lost tape from a 1970s talk show that nobody wanted you to see because it's so horrifying, you're going to have a great time.
Oh, I'm telling you, brother, it's a frightful sight to see what goes on Halloween night.
The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad from 1949.
In his great big fiery hall, where the devil was
time for the big reveal. The Cobwebs Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, there actually was another tooth right here, but I accidentally broke it off. Doing a jack-o'-lantern while talking about horror movies in a video, it's kind of hard. So this is actually a theatrical Disney animated film that is really the compilation of two different shorts that are about a half an hour each. The first one is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, based on The Wind in the Willows. It's not Halloweeny at all. In fact, it's got a little bit of Christmas, so I have to recommend skipping it for this time of year. Don't tell the hardcore Wind in the Willows fans. We're talking about this here because of its adaptation of Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And as much as I love and adore the Tim Burton version, this is my favorite adaptation of Sleepy Hollow. It is beyond perfect. It's like one of the most perfect works of art that's ever been created. It's beautifully animated, has gorgeous fall atmosphere. It ends with a Halloween dance. There's a pumpkin on the mantle, but it's not a ton of decorations everywhere because that's not how life was in the time period when it takes place. This is a very old-fashioned, vintage kind of Halloween. I would almost compare it to the Halloween segment in the classic musical Meet Me in St. Louis, a film that certainly doesn't have enough Halloween to make this list, but God, I love its one All Hallows Eve scene. Not typical for today's Halloween, but the vintage appeal is so good. That's basically what you get here. It is a musical. It's got 3 songs. In my opinion, they're all some of Disney's best songs, but especially Headless Horseman, sung by Bing Crosby, who sings all of the songs and provides a consistent narration throughout the film, so it really feels like somebody's just reading you a classic spooky story. And its version of the classic Midnight Ride, where Ichabod has to meet the Headless Horseman. It's absolutely perfect. It could not be better. The horseman is so maniacal and creepy and throws the pumpkin in one of the most iconic shots in Halloween cinema history. I love this so much. I usually watch it several times throughout the Halloween season because it's only a half hour long. It's one of the best things that's ever been made. I'm gonna say that. Before I go, I just want to send out a massive thank you to my patrons who truly make this channel possible. And if anyone else wants to support me, there's always a link to my Patreon in the description below. And I want to give a special shout out to Christopher Casey, Aaron Price, and David Wood. You guys are the absolute best. If you want checking these movies out for yourself, I do have streaming recommendations right here on the screen, but of course those are subject to change, so I've also got physical media links in the description, and using those does help support the channel. What are some other Halloween movies you recommend? Let me know down in the comments below. You can click on the video on the screen if you want to hang out with me more. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Happy Halloween. I'll see you next time. Bye.